Hey again, people. This is these First Amendment auditors. Now look, I get a lot of questions about these guys. And there's some guys that kind of push the line and they're kind of jerks. And there's some guys that are pretty polite and do a good job. And there's other guys that kind of push back when the cops push. So there's a lot of ways to do a First Amendment audit. My opinion, man, these guys are doing a good service to hold government accountable. If there were no First Amendment audits, I think cops would be out there detaining and arresting everybody who wouldn't show them their ID because there's no accountability. So these First Amendment guys, I mean, if you can't hold a cop legally liable because they do something wrong, at least embarrassing them and making them take a walk of shame, will probably prevent them from doing the same thing again. You may not have to just take money or fire them to get them to start doing the right thing. So I think First Amendment audits serve a purpose. I think these guys are doing a service holding government accountable, and I think it's a good thing. Now, I have seen some guys that are complete jerks and push it, and as a cop, I hated it when I dealt with jerks. But government has the power to seize your body and your freedom, to cost you money, to tow your car, to arrest you, to violate your space and search you, to lock you up and imprison you and make you prove that you weren't wrong. That is a huge amount of power, and any checks and balances on that power is a good thing. Even if it's done in the wrong way, I think it's a good thing. It's better than allowing government to grow in power uncontrolled. So this guy does a pretty good audit here and handles this pretty well. Let's look at how he does this.
How you doing, man?
Good, how are you?
Wonderful.
Good. Jeff?
Polite, introduces himself, shakes the officer's hands. I'm not saying you need to kiss an officer's butt, especially when they're follically challenged, but it can hurt. And I'm probably not, if a cop's walking up to me, I might go, how's it going? But I'm probably not going to go shake his hand because I just don't shake a whole lot of people's hands anyway. But this guy is polite, introduces himself, gives his first name, and talks to the cops. No reason for the cops to have an attitude.
Brian Rankin, JSO.
Nice to meet you, sir.
What's going on?
Just getting some photographs out here today.
You really understand this is a military base?
Yes, sir. That's why I'm out here to get photographs of the military base.
So this cop says, you realize it's a military base. He says it with such conviction and authority that he really believes that this guy's not allowed to take pictures of a military base. I don't know why he believes it. There's no statute. There's cops out there that just kind of want to say things without, and that's why I tell young cops, learn the freaking law, learn your policy. When somebody questions you, you ought to have a good damn answer on what section you're enforcing, what crime you're suspecting them of, what legal authority you have to be. You ought to be able to know what the hell you're doing and why you're doing it. Most cops are just kind of like, I got a badge, I got a gun, I got a call. Don't question me. Just comply. And I don't know what happened when that attitude just completely flip-flopped. I'm thinking it's the Patriot Act and the militarization of cops with their, military toys, wanting to look like military, wanting to, they're getting their egos hurt because there's guys serving their country in the military. I'm about to do a video on the Fort Worth officer where they just trashed him in the media because he said he wanted to be in the military when he was hired. But I'll get to that. But all right, so let's stay on this. Here we go.
You don't think that's rather odd?
You don't think that's odd that you're taking pictures? That a citizen, there's air shows where the government opens the base and brings every freaking plane we have out there for you to take tours, take pictures. You can stand in front of it. I mean, when I was stationed at Travis, we had those damn air shows. I hated them. 200,000 people would come on base. It was crazy. And there were families and kids, and we would do dog shows and show them how our dogs attacked and how it was total transparency on what the military does and what service we're providing and what you as taxpayers are voting for and paying for when you support the military. That's why military has open house. This cop acts like the military is secret. We work for the government. The military is government. I'm government. We're secret. You pesky citizen does not have the right to question what the hell we do with the money we steal from you when we force you to pay taxes. I mean, I just don't get it.
No.
Really?
No, they're having the, I heard on the radio they're doing the base security operations this week. I think that's why Channel 4 News is out here as well.
Okay, that was a good point, and I don't think this guy's being a smartass at all. I think he's being very cooperative, very articulate, very calm, and stating his position. When he said that's why the media's out here, you would think this guy would have got a clue and went, well, he's right. The media's here photographing. Why can't he be here photographing? Does the media have special laws that you know and can articulate? Well, the media gets special permission to photograph, and pesky citizens aren't allowed to photograph, only the media. I mean, they pulled that shit on me in Fort Worth when I tried to get the arrest warrant when they arrested a cop. He goes, well, you're not the media. I go, I don't need to be the media to do a FOIA request. And he tried to BS me, and he went through, I was going to do a trash video on him. I just haven't had a chance to do it. I mean, they made me jump through all kind of hoops, told me I had to go to, I had to threaten to do, I had to file an IA online before they finally sent me the damn document. But, I mean, look, holding government accountable is a good thing. I know there's a lot of cop lovers out there that's like, well, these guys are jerks and we've got business to take care of and our donut's getting cold. I don't want to hear that shit. The Supreme Court already ruled that you don't have to protect. You don't have to go out there and get involved in shit. And instead, you choose to pick on people that are easy. You're a bully when you go out there and you only pick on people that don't fight back. You don't go into gangbangers and thugs, and you're not out there arresting people with violent felonies and chasing crooks down. No, no, no. That might get your pretty uniform dirty, and it'll mess up a little bit of your chocolate icing from your donut. You don't want to do that. But by gosh, if you find a little old lady not wearing her seatbelt in a school zone, boy, you'll jump all over that. I've just never seen the pussification of cops and the pussiness that we have wearing badge and guns where it used to be men did it. Well, Rick, you can't say that because of equal and we've got to be inclusive and women are just as good as... All right, whatever. Let's get back to this.
Okay. Are you with the news?
I am, yeah, I'm with Pinac News.
Who are you with?
Pinac, P-I-N-A-C, Pinac News.
Okay. Him saying he's with the news and he's a news organization, and he may have press credentials, and he may be proposing or presenting himself as a legitimate media source. Most press agencies have press. I'm not sure this is a great... I mean, he could say this, but I think a better question right here would have been, are you telling me that if I'm with the press, it's okay for me to be here, and if I'm not with the press, I can't? And then if the officer said yes, I would say, can you give me the law statute? I've never heard that before. This is why you make cops think, and cops sometimes don't like to think. They like to do easy, non-thinking stuff because, you know, the most thing they want to think about is, are they going to get there before they throw away the day-old donuts that I can get a cheaper price on? So, look, I don't care if he's in the media or not, but he said he was in the media, and it almost, I think, put the cop in, oh, this guy's lying to me, must be up to something. He's trying to pose himself. He's probably committing other crimes. I'm not saying it's legitimate. I'm just saying that's where the cop was going, and I don't know if that's good or bad. I mean, bottom line, he's government. He's got the power and authority. He should know the damn law.
Do you have any credentials that associate you with them?
Not on me, no.
Usually people with the media have all their credentials on them when they're working.
See, you kind of gave the cop a place to go. If you give a cop a rabbit hole, you lose sight of the initial thing. He contacted him for taking pictures. It's either lawful or unlawful. And him being the press or not the press doesn't matter. But now we've got this new rabbit hole that you're, you know, having a conversation with this guy, and you may slip up or you may give him somewhere to go. The longer you prolong contact with law enforcement, the more chance you give law enforcement the ability to say, While talking to him, I established more articulable suspicion. He posed himself as a media but refused to identify. He didn't have press credentials. This raised my suspicion and caused me to detain him to do a further investigation of other criminal activity. So by trying to be cool, and I'm not saying this guy's wrong in any way, shape, or form. I'm just trying to get you to understand sometimes don't be going down rabbit holes and giving government ways to prolong the contact and ways to get more questions and answers from you.
All right.
So, are you working?
I'm just getting photographs, yeah.
I'm just getting photographs, not answering my question.
See, here we go. We went from you're taking photos to are you the press to do you have credentials to now are you working? What the hell difference does that make, people? It doesn't matter whether you're press, you're working, you're not working. It doesn't matter whether you're press. You're in a public area doing legal authorized photography. You're not violating any crime. Why are we continuing to talk and answer and ask questions?
Sir.
Okay, well.
I didn't just drive by and see you.
Yeah.
It's a call for service.
Okay, so this cop thinks, and this is a somewhat legitimate argument in court, I didn't self-initiate the activity. When I self-initiate contact, I have to articulate why I initiated contact. But when I get a call for service or when somebody calls 911 or somebody expresses concern, they are asking for service. And per our policy, if I have to respond for calls for service and policy says I have to make contact and investigate suspicious or reported suspicious activity, in a cop's mind, I'm legal. Hey, I'm not here for shits and gigs. I'm out here working. I got dispatch here because of 911 call. I have a legitimate reason for being here. Okay, that's great, fine, dandy, and it's true. Big freaking deal. Once you get there and determine there's no crime, you need to move on. Just because you got a 911 call doesn't mean that you have King's X and I can do whatever the hell I want and I'm protected because I was here. Actually, it kind of does mean that because as long as a cop is where he's at and as long as he's not violating policy, he gets immunity. So that's a problem. So why give rabbit holes and prolong a contact instead of just saying, I'm lawfully here. I'm not committing a crime. If I am committing a crime, please let me know. I'll be more than happy to comply. I'm not aware that I'm committing a crime. Please educate me.
Somebody's called in, reported your videotaping, photographing people leaving the base, is what they said.
That's what they called in and reported?
Yeah.
The photographing and videotaping?
It's suspicious activity.
Is it unlawful activity?
It may not be unlawful, but it's highly suspicious.
Okay. When I first heard this, I was like, come on, dude. If it ain't unlawful, move on. But, I mean, from a cop's perspective, when you get dispatched, he has a sergeant. He's got a call now. There's a call log located. There's people that call 911 that may come back and go, what did you do? I saw an officer come. He talked to the guy for 10 seconds and left. What the hell are you doing? And then that person who's calling needs to be educated. Sir, we contacted him. He's doing lawful activity. He wasn't committing a crime, so we moved on. Well, what's his name? We want to know who he is. He doesn't have to give his name. He wasn't committing a crime. You want to know his name? Walk out there and ask him. If he gives it to you, you can have it. We can't force him to. I mean, this is the education process that should be coming out of this. And the courts know that this is going on. The courts know that cops are out there letting their dogs bite people. They're shooting without accountability. They're detaining and arresting everybody they come in contact with for resisting arrest. And there is no pushback from the courts. Why? Because the people are not pushing back on their representatives to force the legislation to make laws to stop this, so the courts have to rule whether it's constitutional. They aren't being sued, so it's not going through the court process. That's the problem. So people want to blame the First Amendment guys, and I go, it's not them. They're working within the law. It's the system, the government, and the people that aren't helping them. Just like I say when people want to blame the cops. It's not necessarily the cops. I mean, they're individuals. They're responsible for what they do. But they're working within the laws that protect them. They're working within the laws that pay them, who works for them, who the politicians are that set their policy, that hire their police chiefs, that elect their judges. That's the system the cops work in. You can blame the cops, But you know what? Unless you fix a system, it doesn't matter. The cops are protected by the system. The system are your representatives with these left-wing liberal ideas that think everybody has a right to do anything, and they can line across the road and lay down and handcuff themselves to your car, and you can't drive or you become the bad guy. I mean, it's just crazy.
Mm-hmm. It's suspicious enough for me to write a report with all your information in it.
Okay.
So, you have an ID?
I have an ID in my car.
In this one?
Yeah.
Okay. You want to grab it?
No.
I love this. And again, I don't think this cop is being an asshole. There may be people, he's a bootleg jack. I think he's just like, dude, I got a call. Give me your freaking name. I'll say I contacted you and we'll go on about our day. He wants to check the box, but the box isn't lawful. But he's been doing it this way for probably his whole career, and nobody's challenged him on it. So what's the incentive for him to change? First Amendment audits. Same way with open carry. There's a lot of people that carry guns. Open carry is stupid. It just provokes them. You're just calling attention to yourself. It's dumb. I think it makes people learn the law. If everybody open carried, cops would stop responding to people calling in and saying, there's a guy carrying a gun. So what? We get 50 calls like that a day. It ain't unlawful. That's how you educate the public. So there's a purpose. It's just sometimes the purpose is lost in the way people do things.
Really?
Yeah, I'd rather not ID.
So you're refusing to ID yourself?
Am I being detained or anything?
You're getting ready to be.
You're getting ready to be. Is that a threat? Is that coercion? Is that considered coercion to give me your ID or I'm going to detain you? Absolutely it is. Is it unlawful? Somebody may say it is. I'm not sure it is. If I can trick you into giving me your ID by saying you might get detained, I didn't use physical force on you, I didn't do anything unlawful, I merely made a statement, and if you give me your ID and it gets us out of here quicker, did I violate the law? I know I'm going to get some heat on that, but if anybody wants to please educate me with the section, just like I'm saying the cop should be able to articulate, please show me the section where if a cop says, if you don't give me your ID, you might get detained, how that's a crime. I'm not sure they should do it. I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying, is it a crime?
I mean, am I suspected of criminal activity?
Listen, we can do this one or two ways, brother.
When a cop says, listen, I used to do that too, man. I'd be like, God, all right, listen, dude. Because that basically means I'm frustrated, I'm fed up, I'm ready to move on. Let's get to the meat and potatoes. Let's have our come to Jesus meeting right now, and we're going to set down the rules. But if I'm lawful and I can do what I say, is that wrong? Well, Rick, you're doing a bootleg jacket. All right, well, whatever. Here we go.
You've been with the media long enough to know we don't mess around with this kind of stuff, especially you're taking pictures of a Navy base or a Coast Guard base. It's a federal facility right here. You're actually standing on federal property.
No, I'm standing on public property.
So, again, the way he said it, his posture, totality of circumstances. Who thought that he was about to pounce on this dude or grab him? I kind of thought he was going to grab him and detain him, put him in handcuffs. But was my thinking that reasonable? Is that reasonable fear for me to run or to resist? Is that reasonable? I really try, and I know I got a lot of guys, my normal viewers, get it. The law is not black and white. It's not easy. And the people that run here and make all these conclusions that, oh, he should have done that, and he could have done that, and they can't do that, and that's unlawful, I'd sue him, and I would... Look, people, the people saying that have never gone through the process, or they wouldn't be saying that, because they know all that's just a joke. I think the guy was kind of trying to intimidate him, but I don't think he was being unlawful.
You're actually on an easement. This is a federal...
Over there is
right
federal.
Here.
I'm on the public right-of-way, where the bus stop is.
You're on a public right-of-way.
So the cop's getting educated. At first, it was, were you the media? Why are you taking pictures? Then it was, this is a federal facility, so big deal. There's no law against that. Then it was on your own federal. No, I'm on easement. So now the cop is like, okay, you're on easement. So the cop's getting educated. And again, I know people don't want to cut cops slack, but I think this cop is he's not being a bootleg jackhammer. He's not being as good as I think he could be. He should take it non-personal and go, you know what? I ain't going to deal with this. I showed up. I asked. You're right. I can't detain you unless I suspect you of a crime. I don't suspect you of a crime. You're on an easement. I kind of thought when I got dispatched that you probably shouldn't be doing it, but you know what? I really don't have any legal way to go about this. I'm going to clear the call. And he could have done that, but it's very hard for cops to back down. Like I said, de-escalating is not considered cop-like. Okay, you don't want to go back to the station and go, man, that dude, he owned you. He told you to get out. You were his bitch. And that's how cops will razz him. I'm not justifying that cops should be this way. I'm just telling you reality on what cops deal with and why there's that mentality that, hey, you're in charge. You need to go out there and be in charge. If you give up the control of the situation, you're going to get shot or stabbed. Don't let people out there dictate how they're going to run a sign. You're the cop. It's your job to control it. Be safe. Get out of there lawfully and do what you need to do. And that's how cops are trained. And then I'll have idiots coming here. Well, cops need more training. I mean, that's like saying drunk drivers need more training. If we just add more training to get a driver's license, we could stop drunk driving. Who believes that? Raise your hand. If your hand's up, you're a freaking idiot. It's not training, people.
Right.
Adjacent to federal property. So you really don't want to identify yourself.
Well, I mean, am I being detained or anything?
You will be.
Was that a threat? I think that was a fact. He's stating the facts. If you don't do that, I'm going to detain you. Until he unlawfully detains him, I think the cop is okay. I know some people be like he shouldn't intimidate. I mean, that's a pretty mild intimidation, and I know if you give him an inch, they'll take a mile, but if that was the worst thing this guy did, I'd be happy.
I mean, if I will be, that means I'm not being detained, so.
You're not right now, but I'm trying to give you the opportunity to do the right.
Oh, he's trying. The government is there to help you, and they're trying to give you the ability and opportunity to cooperate. Otherwise, I'm going to stop helping you, and I'm going to start hurting you, and I'm going to arrest you, and I'm going to cause you lawyer fees, and I'm going to detain you, and I'm going to tow your car. Still, I don't think a cop has broken any laws yet.
Right thing. Again, I didn't just drive by and see you, and now I'm going to stop and mess with you. Okay, I have a lawful reason to be here. Have a lawful reason to ask you any questions because of what you're doing.
And I have a lawful right not to answer any questions.
Correct. Cop has a lawful right to be there and ask questions, and both these guys are correct. But neither one seems to want to, and I'm not saying that the guy photographing probably shouldn't back down. He's doing a First Amendment audit the right way. The cop needs to realize at some point, dude, I don't have anything. And I almost think this cop is trying to figure out a way to get out of this. I mean, we don't know if this cop has been written up for blowing off calls. A lot of cops show up to calls, blow them off, and leave when there was actual crime and they don't want to take paper. So then you have sergeants saying, dude, I'm going to write you up. You better make sure you go to one more call and you don't get the ID from people you contacted so I can do an IA and interview them. I'm going to write your ass up for failing to follow a lawful order. So the next call you go on, you damn well better get everybody you contacted. We don't know if that happened, but that happens quite frequently. So, again, I'm not trying to justify this cop's actions like people will say. I'm trying to give you both sides of the story so you can make a better educated decision or opinion when you see things like this.
That's right.
So this gentleman's here, says he's with media.
You know what? I got my business card. Can I give you my business card?
No, you're not going toward anywhere now. You've already refused to identify yourself. Why are you going to give me a business card? Why not give me your ID?
Okay, so now the cop is getting on to where he's losing his defense. Because now if they go to, he wouldn't give me ID, he offered to give them a business card. And I think you could argue that a business card with your name and phone number, it's not government official ID to where I need to book you or if I was going to arrest you, but it's more than I have. And if you really want to ID the guy, then you can run that name and cross-check it on his license. I mean, they got his license plate on his car. His car's right there. So they could run his car. They get his name. He's already introduced himself as Jeff when a guy walked up. So is he not identifying? First of all, I don't think he has to do as much as he's done. But these cops now are getting to where it's a little personal. And when a second cop shows up, you'll notice this guy's attitude changes. There is a reason in the law when you're a young driver and you're 16 or 15, a lot of states say when you have your provisional license, you are not allowed to have passengers. Well, why, Rick? If it's your car and you're driving, why can't? Because there's been plenty of studies that especially young, influenceable drivers and even older drivers, when they have passengers or when there's multiple people, they are encouraged to show off, do things they would normally do. They won't back down because they don't want to look weak. They will take challenges and their behavior changes when they have passengers. So there's actual laws that says you can't, we don't think you're mature enough. We're going to give you a driver's license so you can go kill somebody if you want to, but you can't have a passenger in the car when you do it. So that's why they have laws. Well, this is the same thing with cops. When multiple cops are there, they treat you different than when they're alone. When you work in large areas and you're the only cop and your backup is 15 minutes away, you don't come off as such a badass. When you're in the city and you know if I get on this radio, I can have 10 or 15 cops here in 30 seconds, you don't give a shit. Your attitude becomes, dude, if you push me, I'm going to bring down my freaking army on you. Rick, you sound like a bootleg. I'm telling you how human nature works, people. Same way with politicians and people with money. I can hurt you. I've got money. You can't do nothing. I can buy my way out of it. If you're a politician, I know friends. I have power. I don't need you. It comes with the turf. That's why government needs to be checked, because of that power.
Well, because I'd rather not ID. I got my business card.
Well, it doesn't work that way.
Well, how does it work?
I'm here for a lawful reason.
It doesn't work that way. How does it work? I love this guy.
Asking you for your ID.
Mm-hmm. But you've already affirmed that I'm not committing any crime. I'm not suspected of any criminal activity.
Well, we'll see.
Failing to give us your ID is a crime. It's called resisting without violence.
No, it's not.
Oh my God. So this guy comes in. Notice he put his gloves on. Remember what I told you? When cops put their gloves on, that's a clue. They think they're about to go hands on. They think it's about to get escalated. So when you see cops putting their gloves on and it ain't cold, and they got short sleeves on, so it probably ain't cold, that's a clue. So this guy, I think, has a much worse attitude than this guy. But this guy feeds off his attitude, and this guy will feed because he has another cop. And that's the way it works. Rick, you're just justifying because you're a cop lover. I'm telling you reality.
That is a state statute, so
No, it's not.
do you want to go to jail on something like that?
No, sir, I don't want to go to jail.
Okay, well, what,
Don't be a smart ass, all right?
Oh,
Don't be a smart. So smartass is a new crime. Now, I technically think this guy right now has a legitimate complaint on this officer if he files a written complaint that he was rude and called me names when he contacted me. That complaint would be sustained. This guy would get disciplined. They would put something in his jacket. So almost all agencies have a policy that says you will contact and treat citizens with respect. You will not be discourteous, or there's certain wording that says you can't go around calling the citizens dumbass. Now, here's where everybody call me bootjack. I called a lot of people a lot worse names than dumbass. And usually in high-risk situations, when cops are pointing guns at them and they're saying, put your fucking hands up, somebody be like, well, he violated policy. They overlook it in high-stress situations because there's studies that during high-risk, life-and-death situations, people use colorful language, I think they might have said. But anyway, I think that's a legitimate case. This guy goes, don't be a smartass. I think he's got a complaint on this guy.
what's your name and badge number?
That's my name.
What's your badge number?
63433.
And how do you pronounce your name?
Read it.
I can't.
Most agencies have a policy. I don't know. It's not all. If a citizen requests your name and badge number, you will give it to them. And if they don't, they violate policy. That's why I think all policies should be posted on every government website.
Hey, Milton,
Why are you being a smartass?
how am I being a smartass?
This is the guy that goes around doing stuff like this.
I don't know.
So see, this guy is still, I think, kind of being like, dude, I'm just trying to get your name so I can clear. This guy's jacking up the scene. Same thing what happens with domestics when you have wives or friends or multiple people. You got your friends over, the wife says something, you get embarrassed. Same thing if a cop goes into your house and you're by yourself, you'll probably let him talk to you a little bit different than if your wife and kids are there and he tries to start making you look like a shitbag. You're going to get more defensive. This is all just human reaction, people. And somehow people want to see cops as, well, they shouldn't do that. They should be more, they need more training. Okay, yeah. Let's give DUIs more driving training because that'll help them.
How am I being a smartass?
I've never met him before, so I don't know.
Well, okay, since you guys, am I being detained? I've asked you that multiple times. You say I'm about to be. Either I'm being detained or I'm not.
Actually, you are being
you're
detained
being
right now.
detained right
You're
now.
not free to leave.
Since I'm being detained, and you say you're conducting an investigation,
Yes.
I'm invoking my right to remain silent. I'm
Okay.
invoking my right to have an attorney present during questions. At this point, you can direct all your questions to my attorney.
Okay.
I'm not answering.
Okay, as soon as they said he's being detained, a question, and again, sometimes I don't like getting into questions. I'd be like, what crime do you suspect me of? We've already determined that I'm at a lawful place where I'm authorized to be on public property. I'm not on a federal facility. I'm doing photograph, which I'm lawfully authorized to do. I'm not committing any crime. If you're detaining me, what crime do you think I'm committing? And they would have probably said failure ID, which isn't true, but it doesn't matter. That's what, I mean, it's just, unfortunately, it's a black hole of circular logic.
Answering any more questions. I've told you who I am. My name is Jeff. Told you I work for Pennac News Services. And I'm gathering content for a story.
You got
Okay.
a phone number for that news service?
Yeah.
If you're a news service, then you should know that you work with
That's
the
what
cops.
I told him.
You just cooperate with us and everything.
I have
good.
cooperated.
If you're a news service, you should cooperate with us. Again, I go back. Why the hell does it matter whether I'm news or not? Are you telling me if I was legitimate news service and if I give you my ID that I work for a news service, then I'm not committing a crime? If they admit to that, then you go, well, if I'm not a news service and I'm not committing a crime, why are you detaining me?
That's what I did. I told him
Give
my.
us your ID.
I don't need to give you my ID. I've told you my name is Jeff. I've identified
Doesn't
myself.
mean anything. I can tell you.
Pennac News.
You know,
Well, let me know when I'm free to go. So.
You're not
gonna
free to
be
go.
free to go.
Jeff, you said Jeff?
Yes, Jeff.
Tell me the media company again.
Pennac News. PINAC.
I'm surprised they haven't pulled out, because of your suspicious and uncooperative behavior, I'm going to go ahead and pat you down because we're going to contact and conduct this investigation. And because you're being so uncooperative and I don't know who you are, I'm going to pat you down for weapons for officer safety. Please put your hands on a car. And then when you resist or you try to pull away or you stop them, then we'll arrest you for resisting. I'm surprised they didn't play that card. And they probably would have if he didn't have a camera, because I don't think they're wearing a camera.
And you have a phone number for him?
That's 904.
Yep.
Well, like I said, I can give you my my business card if you'll let me get it out of the car.
ID.
I don't really want you going to your car now, because you've already shown me that you don't really want to cooperate with me. So the last thing I want you to do is go to your vehicle.
Okay, so they're losing. The more they talk, and this is a game you play when you get cops to talk on video, you're risking that you give up something that they can use against you, but you also get the ability for them to hang themselves. So we're doing all this because you won't ID, but now we don't want you going in your car because we don't trust you to get ID. So they're losing their defense about later when if this turned in and somebody got shot and killed during the, depositions, it'd be like, well, we were there because he wouldn't ID. Well, you told him he couldn't go to his car. Did you really want his ID or you didn't? Because I'm confused. And that's how you would hang him.
Grab something. You feel me? I mean, from my standpoint, it's an officer safety issue.
Again, I still don't think this cop is being a jerk. I don't think he's doing what he should do, but I don't think he's being a jerk. This guy, yeah, he's kind of gone to the jerk status to me. He's the instigator, tough guy. Shit, I think he's freaking Michael Jackson. What happened to his other glove? He's only got one glove on one hand. He's going to break out, woo-hoo-hoo, start grabbing his crotch and doing twists. What's up with that?
If you're gonna tell me no, I don't have to identify myself, which you do, then
I don't have to identify
I'm not
myself
gonna let
unless
you
I'm
go to your
suspected of a
car
crime.
and get something.
And I have identified myself. No,
You are doing suspicious activity.
It's suspicious activity and misdemeanor.
Notice the cop, you are suspected, you are doing suspicious. He caught himself. He was about to say he was suspected of crime. If you can't ID him unless you got a crime, why are you still pushing it? See, these cops just don't know how to disengage and go, hey, you know what? He's a citizen. He has rights. There's a constitution. We're government. Cops don't see themselves as government. They're sold on the idea that they are protectors and we have to go out there and deal with the drudges of society and the lowlifes. And these people need to stop. They need to respect us, agree with us, not give us a hard time, and not question our authority because we're cops. And that's the mindset. And, you know, if you get a small town sheriff or a sheriff who believes in the Constitution, his deputies won't treat people like this because he tells them, these guys are voting members of the public. They elect me. We're here to protect and serve them. We are not here to harass them and to piss them off to where they hate us. We are part of the community. We are part of the same people. We pay taxes. We live in a community and we're all on the same side. Do not treat my voting people that vote and elect me, do not treat them like the freaking enemy or you'll be out of a job. That's why government controlled locally is always better than when it's large, like in your big liberal cities, like in your big federal government agencies. You lose controls. You lose people who serve and work and live and deal with the people in their community. Man, this video goes on. I'm at 37 minutes. If you want to watch this, it's on Facebook. Let's see, what's it at? Conscious Media Alliance. I don't know if that's where they put it up, but somebody put it on a Facebook page. The guy does a good job. How it ends? Well, hell, let me just go to the end. Okay, so after, another probably 10 minutes of BS going back and forth, these guys stepping on their dick, not knowing what they're doing, this is how it ends. They've called for a supervisor. They're waiting for a supervisor to show up. And then, out of the blue...
Okay, you're free to go.
All right, thank you, guys.
Yep.
Be safe out there.
Thank you.
Again, the auditor was polite, nice, didn't take it personal, exerted his rights, educated these guys. He won in the end. He was still detained unlawfully, and they disrupted. They basically kidnapped him. They stopped his free movement without cause. They had initial cause, and I think they could have done a little bit, but they prolonged this way past the point of suspicion. And then they end up walking away. And the guy was polite. He said, okay, be safe. Auditor did a great job.
I'd rather not. If you guys let me be free to go, that's fine.
Okay, so he went back.
Somebody's called in, reported your...
He went back to the car, and the guy thought about it and went, we called for a supervisor, and we don't want to get charged if somebody asks for a supervisor that we denied him the right. And when the sergeant shows up, it'll be like, you called me out here, and now the guy's gone. Well, now they can say, well, he changed his mind. He said he didn't want to talk to you. So that was a little covering your butt at the end there. Do you still want to talk to the supervisor? And the guy's like, no, I'd rather not. If I'm free to go, I'll just leave. And the guy goes, you're free to go. So now the cop covered his butt so he can tell the sergeant the guy didn't want to talk to him. The guy left. Everyone's happy. They went out and had donuts. This guy went out and did what he did. Good audit, in my opinion, and a lot of lessons here. All right, we'll end it there.